I'm looking at something I've called, I have had enough. This brings me to a story in 1 Samuel chapter 27, verse 1. The background to this was that God had promised David that he was going to be king of Israel, but a lot of things had happened. Saul, the present king then, was out to kill David for no apparent reason apart from the fact that he was a bit jealous of David. And David had gone up and down, running from place to place. Years had passed. Things were just not working out for him at all. And he got to the point where he just literally was like, look, I've had enough of all this. And in 1 Samuel chapter 27, verse 1, David says something there. He thinks to himself, look, at some point in time, Saul is going to get me and he's going to kill me. The best thing for me to do is just to go somewhere else to the land of the Philistines then and just live just maintain like a really low profile there. That way Saul will leave me alone. So this was the man, David in this instance, whom God had made a promise to. God had promised David that he was going to be king. If you look at 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 1, God said concerning David, I have found a king for myself. So God gave David a promise mouth to mouth, so to speak. Probably it's the same way that there's an aspiration that you have in your life. And it seems like, man, when is this thing going to happen? Is it ever going to happen at all? And the next thing that we see that happens to David is in John chapter 16, verse 33, where Jesus himself says, in this life, you will have trouble. So the second point was that David had a promise from God. He was excited at that promise, but it didn't seem like that promise was going to happen. Life battered David up and down, up and down. Saul wanted to kill him. Jesus said in John chapter 16, verse 33, he says, in this life you will have trouble. So basically, the troubles of life pushed David to the place where he just said, look, I have had enough. Now, the third and final point I want to make is this. We see in 2 Samuel chapter 5 that eventually God's promise to David came to pass. He became king. So the question is, how did he get from the place where he was like, look, I've had enough. I'm just going to maintain a low profile. Life had really, really taken a toll on him. How did he get to the place in 2 Samuel chapter 5 to 8, where he eventually saw God's promise come to pass in his life? He just did one thing. Well, he did a number of things, but one of the main things that he did was that he stayed with God. Even though he had had enough, he just did one main thing. And that was, even though he didn't know what was going to happen, he just stayed with God through the process to the point where the promise God made to him actually came to pass. So what am I saying here? I'm saying that there are times that we're going to get to the point in our life, or several times where we're like, man, I've had enough. But if we can just stay with God, irrespective of how we feel about every situation that appears to be battering us, eventually God's promise for us will come to pass.